Well, hello everybody. It's been a while since I put out a video, and I've had a few emails recently, people asking how my umbies are doing in the 1,000-gallon system, and thought I'd take the liberty this fine Sunday afternoon to do a quick video on the tank. You can see I'm a little further away than normal. I will get a little closer in a minute, but thought you might be able to see up in the corner there. You'll see the pair of umbies, and that female is fanning, my guess is a couple thousand eggs. They spawned yesterday sometime. I came home, and for some reason they picked this rock way up in the corner, which I guess makes sense because, again, they are the new fellows in this tank. They were put in here in mid-April, and it is now early August, and in those 3-4 months they've managed to find a spot where they can spawn with a very large contingent of jags and freds and what have you in the tank. Here's a couple of the jags fighting in the middle of the tank, and over that direction not much going on. Anyway, I'm going to get a little closer to these umbies, and you can see another jag at the bottom of this little spot here. As we get a little closer to this tank, you can see the male in full gorgeous colors. He is, they've done really well on this tank. They were in 135 when I got them at a very young age of probably 6 weeks old or something. I got them last year, maybe June, July, something like that. So in 1 year's time, they went from 2-inch fish to what you see here. The male is now probably, pushing, I don't know, 14 inches or so, and the female's in that 10-inch range. You can see the difference in colors. The male is starting to get his nuchal hump, and he's got the nice long trailers and the gorgeous blue colors that are typical of the Rio Magdalena variety, which of course is what these are. These are wild caught, and the male is now chasing a jag way across the tank to keep him out of this territory. They've got a lot more territorial since the females lay the eggs. And up here you can see the female nursing or fanning her eggs. It's kind of hard to tell how many there are up there, but there's quite a few eggs, and I can't really get any closer because of this. Again, this is a large tank. I'm right at the front plexiglass, but she's a good 4 feet or so away from me, and there she is picking at some of the eggs, making sure there's no fungus and doing all the fun stuff they do. You can see her coloration. She's a lot yellower now than her normal color patterns, a little bit more bluish, but when they are spawning or when she's nursing eggs, of course, or aggressive, they tend to get this particular variety anyway tends to get the golden yellow. When she gets really aggressive or when they're actually lip locking or spawning, she has got tremendous yellow on her at that point. Not quite as yellow now that she's fanning eggs, but if there were some fish that were trying to encroach on that territory or maybe snag some of those eggs for a nice tasty treat, she probably would get a little more yellow than she is right now. Male's doing a pretty good job patrolling the perimeter and keeping the various parachromas, such as this jag right here and that big old Fred that's coming out to say hi, from getting too close. The fact that this tank has over 40 square feet of space gives the umbies plenty of room to protect their eggs and not have to worry about giant skirmishes in the tank, or have to worry about other fish getting torn to bits, because they've got plenty of room to take off. And again, this male jag is getting to be quite impressive. Not nearly as big as the pair I had in here a few years ago, not yet anyway, but I think potentially they probably even have better coloration and very, very good stock. Like I said, he's probably 15 inches or so, and the female's around that 10-inch range. So she's coming out here to sort of prod him to, oh, she's coming out, actually, I probably missed that, but she was coming out after me because I'm getting a little too close with my camera. She doesn't even want me within 4 feet of those eggs. So there she is Again, checking on them, fanning them, picking out the fungused ones, what have you. While the over here, a couple of jags kind of laying wait to see if they can maybe snag some. I'm going to sit down now. That was she's actually towards the top of this 3-foot tall tank. I guess where they spawned is maybe a foot and a half down, so they're nowhere near the ground where this big tall rock is that they picked for spawning. Most of the action is down here towards the ground. And there's again probably the largest Fred I've ever seen. It's the original male from the pair I had in my 270 years ago that I spawned many times, and the male has now been retired, and he's enjoying life in this massive tank where he can just sort of eat a lot of freeze-dried jumbo krill and hang out. Here comes that umbee. He's checking me out. He doesn't really want me close to his eggs. See if I can get a good shot of his head as he goes by. You might be able to notice the teeth in there. I'm not sure if they'll show up in the video, but he's got some pretty good chompers in there. He's got great coloration. And there he goes back up towards the female. First time that these umbees have spawned in this tank, when they were in the 135 at a much smaller age, much smaller size and younger. They spawned multiple times in that alone. Not nearly as many eggs, but they did spawn a number of times when they were really small. Typically, when you move umbees into a large tank like this, it's sometimes they stop spawning, which was the case with this one for 3 or 4 months. And it's primarily because the females tend to put on growth spurts when they get into large tanks, and instead of having those nutrients going towards developing more eggs, they just put on some size. And that was something that the curator of fishes at the Belle Isle Aquarium, a guy named James Langhammer, had noticed back in the late 70s when umbees were first brought into the hobby. He had a massive pair in I think it was a 600-gallon aquarium in the Belle Isle Aquariums in Detroit, and he noticed that they just weren't that interested in spawning, and it was because he felt the female was spending most of her time putting on growth. They eventually did spawn, but it took some time. So I wasn't surprised that it took a few months for these guys to spawn once they got into this big system. There's the big chancho down there. He's thinking about maybe visiting those eggs himself, but you can see he's got some rips on his nuchal hump there because the fish. There's no fish in this tank that can really damage this massive chancho, who is still kind of the ruler. But what they do is they'll grab a hold of his nuchal hump with their mouths, and that will basically rip up his nuchal hump and stuff. But they just don't have the strength. He can just when they grab a hold of his head, he just shoots across the tank with an umbee or a jag attached to his head, if you will, and he just shoots across the tank and smacks them against the other side. It's quite interesting to watch that happen. So kind of like a rhinoceros or a hippo, with a lion trying to chew on him or something. It feels like it's probably like a gnat. That chancho is probably not too much bigger in length than this male umbee. I think the chancho is maybe 16 inches, but he's easily double the weight. It's just a massive fish. I don't think it shows quite that clearly in the videos just how much bigger he is than these guys. Anyway, so again, I had promised to do a update on the umbees, and they're doing terrific. I will do more umbee videos as time allows and they progress, and I think next video I do will probably focus on the Dovi. I haven't done one on him for a while, and there's been some requests on that too. But while I'm here, we'll give you a quick shot of some of the rest of this tank. As we go way down there, you'll see jags all over the place in here. Anyway, that's about it for now.